Disclaimer, this video is heavily opinionated. If you don't like it, too bad. Hope you guys enjoy. For today's video, I brought on my friend T3alZ3r0 and we ranked the bosses from Hollow Knight. We ranked the bosses in order of the Pantheon of Alanis, and we based it simply on how much we liked the boss, whether that be its fight, lore, or anything else about it. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first one we're looking at is Vengefly King.
Really easy.
Yeah, no, it's really not hard. I think that even with the changes they made in Pantheon of Alanis with the two of them, I really don't think it's that hard of a boss.
Honestly, the two of them should have been your initial encounter. Well,
yeah, it just has such a simple style, so I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent to it, so I'm not.
Soul Warrior is harder.
Yeah. So I don't know. Where are you thinking?
Very easy. It's just kind of like a dull boss.
Yeah. It's only got like 2 attacks.
I'd put it in either D or E.
I'm cool with D if you want to do that.
Well,
I'm good with that.
It's the introduction to.
I don't really think that it's quite at the point of being E.
E is like
so we'll put it in D.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Mother. This boss is also really simple, really easy.
I think I also have to put this one in D, either D or C.
I think that this one is equivalent to Vengefly King in terms of how much I enjoy it, because I think it's not really much, if at all, harder than Vengefly King. So I'm fine to put this in D as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that
it's one thing though, I do like what they did with its appearance in the Pantheon. Where it's
how'd they change it?
It's in a small room with like.
Oh, the appearance of its arena.
Because that gives me like a better challenge. So yeah, I think
we can put it in D. That's fine. False Knight. So this is the first major boss of the game. This is the first one with more than like 2 attacks.
So easy.
Yeah, it's not hard either. I'm willing to put this somewhere above Vengefly King and Gruz Mother because I do think that it's a little bit better. I also just like the lore of it as well.
Yeah, I think
so. I'm gonna put it in like B tier.
Personally, I think I would. Yeah, I think like low B or high C. And
I think
behind that is because of the story behind it, and also I think that it's like a good, I guess, like first introduction boss.
Yeah.
Obviously, might be the first boss you encounter, might not be, but
yeah, depending on what you come across.
Yeah, but also it's very well telegraphed, so you know exactly like what to look out for. So his hammer's up, then his mace is up, so you gotta.
Yeah, very good beginner boss. So I'm gonna put it at B if you're good with that. Yeah. Massive Moss Charger. I'm not a huge fan of this boss.
It's
so really simple. Yeah. A bit too much so.
Because you can literally just
if you have Grubberfly's Elegy and Quick Slash, it is so easy to just keep it at bay until it's dead. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I'd put it all the way at F.
E.
Because I don't dislike it. I just think it's really boring.
Yeah. It is also just a variant of a normal enemy, much like I guess Gruz Mother and Vengefly King.
Yeah.
Except this time it's not like an older, wiser version like a Boulder. It's 3 of them.
So yeah, I'm gonna put it in E. I think that's a fair place for it. Okay, Hornet Protector. This is the first fight with Hornet. This one is fairly simple.
Yeah, I think prefer Sentinel.
I also prefer Sentinel, yeah. I think that it's a more energetic fight than Protector. I don't think Protector's bad, but I don't think it's really super high up. So I'm going to put Defender also with False Knight in B, because I think that that's a good place for it. I think it's also somewhere near B or C for me.
Yeah.
For Hornet, so we can put it in B with False Knight.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Gorb.
Gorb's up. One of the best
Gorb is
dreamers.
Very unique boss. I think that this is a very strong one. I think that it's not a hard fight necessarily, but I think that it's a very fun character.
He has a bunch of charm.
Yes.
And also, his boss fight isn't. It's not bad. It's not, it's not difficult either. It's, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But it's a fun time while it lasts. And
I think that. I think that a lot of where liking Gorb comes from is just from the personality that he has. So I'm good to put Gorb in A tier.
I don't know about A because
is A going a bit high?
I think, well, because if this is comparative to everyone else in the tier,
Right.
or then, you know, like if, because then that's basically saying that Gorb is better than Hornet, which you could fight us on that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
feel free.
Yeah. But I feel like Gorb is somewhere in either B.
I think that Gorb doesn't have the most interesting fight, but I think that his personality and what he says and does in it, I think that could push him up to B tier.
Okay.
So we can put him in B tier as well.
Yep.
I think that
Sounds
works.
good.
Okay, Dung Defender.
S.
Yeah, we could. I think that
Good.
I think Dung Defender is worthy of a very high tier.
Ah.
Dung Defender is like one of the most energetic and one of the best lore bosses in the game, I think.
Also, he's not a true enemy and or boss that's in your way. I mean, yes, he's in your way, but he legitimately is just his own person. He hasn't even succumbed to the infection.
Yeah, it's more of a battle of honor when you fight him. I think
that's great.
I think it's really good, yeah. So I think that Dung Defender is deserving of S tier. I think we put Dung Defender in S.
Can we just now, like, play a clip of him going the Atunda?
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
Good.
Next up, Soul Warrior. I don't even think this should be worthy of being called a boss.
There's literally versions of it that are not considered a boss, yet they are the exact same, just with less.
I do not like this fight very much.
No story behind it.
It's just an enemy that they're calling a boss. So I want to put this in F tier.
Yeah, it's not interesting.
Yeah, at least Massive Moss Charger feels like it has sort of a boss atmosphere.
Yeah, it's
Soul
a
Warrior
little
doesn't
bit
have
more
that.
than an enemy, wherein this is just
an enemy. Yeah. So yeah, we're putting Soul Warrior in F.
That's good.
Decided. Brooding Molech.
Oh
is up
boy.
next.
I remember the first time you showed me Hollow Knight. You tried to do this early.
Yeah.
Because
you can skip. Yeah, you can skip right to it by downstriking the spikes without needing the Mantis Claw.
Fun fight. It was tricky before I realized that. Oh, when he shoots the
Yeah,
fountain.
It's much easier to do once you get dash in particular. So.
It's not impossible to do without it. But,
yeah, I don't know. I'm willing to put Molech in C. I think he's a pretty good base
neutral
tier boss.
Yeah.
I think not too challenging, not too easy. And there's not a whole lot of lore, so there's not much to say on him other than just the fight.
This is
one of that I know of. Anyway.
Yeah, this is one of those bosses where it has a distinct, I guess, pattern to it. Well, I guess that's most, but It has like a distinct time where it will show its weakness. It's kind of like a Sonic boss, I guess.
Yeah, almost.
Where you can't hurt it, except here you can hurt it whenever. And I like that aspect of it.
Yeah. So I'm willing to put it in C. I think it's a good mid-tier
learning
boss. Yeah. Okay, Oro and Mato. This is a really interesting fight.
Yeah. I like the
I like how it switches from fighting just one of them to two, and you have to contend with both of their nail arts.
Yep.
I think it's a pretty strong fight. I think it's really good of having to just multitask and focus on multiple things at once. And also Oro and Mato are just cool.
They also don't like come at you at exactly the same time. Like there are very rare occasions when they both do a
generally one of them will just wait while the other one attacks you. So it's a very fair fight.
And at the end, of course, they both bow to you. So.
Yeah. I don't think it quite matches Dung Defender, but I'm willing to put Oro and Mato in A.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think it's a fitting spot.
Very, very nice.
Okay, Zero. So Zero is an interesting one.
Didn't he go against the king?
Something like that, yeah. I think that's right. I haven't looked much into the lore of the Dreamers, so I'm not 100% sure.
Mossbag, get on it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that Zero is fine, personally. It's not a super hard fight. You just have to be really careful of his needles.
Yeah. He has a bit less personality than Gorb, which sounds weird to say on paper.
I like his his little lines that he throws in, though. It kind of reminds me of Quirrell when you're fighting Umu for the first time. So I think that Zero's pretty good in terms of Dreamers. I don't know if he quite matches Gorb. So I think
could just put him lower on B tier.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, we could put him. I don't know. Are you thinking B works fine? I was thinking B or C. I was leaning more towards C. So I was thinking, it's not a bad fight, but it's not
Nothing
the most interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, there's the lore of it, and I guess his personality, but his personality is more so just fighting.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell a lot of personality out of Zero, in comparison to some of the other Dreamers.
Right.
So I'm willing to put him in C. I think that's a fair place to put him. Okay, Crystal Guardian.
Crystal Guardian, oh boy.
Yeah, Crystal Guardian is very uninteresting.
First time I ran into this guy, I got jump scared.
Oh yeah, no, this guy freaks you out.
Yeah, because I thought he was a...
Yeah, he puts up the disguise that he's an NPC, and then you have to fight him. But again, nothing really much to say about him. He just hops around and shoots lasers. It's not really a super difficult fight. In fact, I'd say Crystal Guardian is just really easy. So I don't know. I don't feel like I can get much out of Crystal Guardian.
Yeah.
Because it's such a weird thing. It doesn't have like any backstory to it. It's just.
I'm gonna be honest. Crystal Peaks is probably like one of the, in my opinion, like one of the least memorable spots in terms. I really
like Crystal Peak.
Yeah, I like
in terms of its aesthetic.
Yeah, I just like.
But I agree that the battles are pretty.
You know, Crystal Heart, and then I'll forget about the Crystal Guardian.
Yeah.
I guess D. Because he's not like awful or anything.
I was thinking more towards E, but we can bump him up to D. That's fine.
Yeah. I would say bottom of D because like of course like that initial factor of when you first find him and then he scares you. I think that's like, oh, you know, that's kind of cool because he's pretty unique in that sense, but otherwise he's just not too much to talk about.
Yeah,
so I think bottom D.
I think D is a fair tier. Okay. Soul Master. I really like this one.
Yeah.
I really like the Soul Master fight. I think that it's a good balance of. It's another good balance of not being too challenging and not being too easy, because his attacks are fairly telegraphed, but a lot of them can trip you up really easily if you're not careful. So I think this is a very strong fight. Or a very strong boss. I really like the Soul Tyrant's fight, so I'm willing to put him a little bit higher up.
Another thing that I would like to say is, again, he fakes you out. You think that you got the Descending Dark? No, Desolate Dive?
Desolate Dive.
Yeah, Desolate Dive, but then he fakes you out and then you enter a phase 2.
Yeah, I do like the phase 2, yeah. It's not the most interesting phase 2, but I like the setup for it. So I'm thinking A or B for Soul Tyrant. Or Soul Master.
For Soul Master, I think, well, he's pretty well telegraphed, and he does, I guess this is more on Soul Tyrant, so I guess I can't really say Soul Master here. But yeah, I guess B would work.
I think B is fair, yeah. Alright, so we'll put him in B.
He has just surprisingly good personality for, you know, a single boss.
Yeah. Oblobbles.
Oh boy.
I hate this boss so much.
Doing these guys Radiant really messed with my...
This is one of my least favorite fights to do. I don't like this fight at all.
Yep.
So I don't really know what much to say about it. I just don't like having to deal with the two big bugs floating around the screen shooting infection orbs at you the whole time. So I wanna put Oblobbles in F. I don't like Oblobbles at all.
To anyone who is either A, new to Hollow Knight, or B, has been playing for a little bit and still hasn't reached the end, don't try something called Radiant Oblobbles. Yeah. You will hate it. I've done it. I hated myself. Still do. Just put him in F tier.
I haven't done it because I'm scared, but yeah, we're putting him in F. I don't like Oblobbles. Okay, Mantis Lords. I really like this fight so much.
I really love them because it's a lot. Okay, first of all, their area is really fun.
Yes.
The aftermath of the battle is also great because then the mantises respect you after having taken them down. Lastly, you challenge them yourself.
Yeah, they don't attack you first.
Yeah, so you get to, you know, make the conscious decision of, I want to prove my worth, and then once you do, you get the Mark of Pride, arguably one of the best charms in the game.
Yeah.
And also you gain respect from all of the mantises. So I think that is very good. I really like the Lords and their backstory. I would say I
want to put Mantis Lords in S.
I do too.
I think that the fight is really good, and I really like the area that it's in. Yeah. So I want to put them in S.
I would put them in S. Yeah.
I think that S is good. Yeah. Okay. Sisters of Battle. I don't know how much this expands on Mantis Lords other than just having the 3 of them attack you at the same time in phase 2 instead of just 2 of them. So I don't really know what much more commentary I can add to this that I haven't already said about Mantis Lords. So I kind of just want to put them in A because I think that it still has the good feeling of the Mantis Lords fight, but it doesn't have the same.
Less respectable.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same sort of feel as just being in the area where you fight, it being in the Mantis Village. So I want to put Sisters of Battle.
I can't have any say because I haven't fought.
You haven't fought them.
Yeah, there's only like.
But I want to put them in A because I think that's
fair.
Good.
Yeah, they're not as strong, but they're still pretty strong.
Yeah. Marmu. I think that Marmu's a fun fight. Not a fun fight. I think Marmu's a fun character. I think the fight is kind of mediocre. But I really like Marmu's very exaggerated sort of style.
Yeah. Fun fact, Marmu's design was originally created by one of Team Cherry's mothers.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, but I really like Marmu as a character, even though the fight is kind of whatever. So I don't know. What are you thinking for Marmu?
Personally, I struggled a little bit against Marmu when I first fought her.
Yeah.
And then.
Is Marmu female?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then afterwards, when I finally learned what Marmu's attacks were, and then I went into the Pantheon and I tried Radiant, still hated it. So personally, I've never had a good experience apart from the personality. I do like her connection with the queen. Right. I think that's nice.
So what are you thinking?
Around like the rest of the Dreamers, I would say around low B, high C.
I was also thinking B.
Yeah. We could do
B. I think that Marmu's better than Zero that we ranked earlier, who was in C. So I think that B is fine for Marmu. So we can put Marmu in B. So next up is Fluke Marm. I don't know how I feel about this fight.
Easy.
It's not much of a fight. Fluke Marm just sits still and shoots things at you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really that interesting of a fight.
Yeah. Even then, when you initially find Fluke Marm, you can legitimately kill her without her spawning anything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure RT did that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. No, he killed Fluke Marm like almost immediately.
Okay.
Like, was that a boss?
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Yeah. So I don't really want to rank Fluke Marm that high.
Yeah.
Because
she gives you Fluke Nest, but who uses that?
Yeah. I want to put Fluke Marm in E. Because I don't think it's quite F tier. Like, I didn't hate the fight. But like Massive Moss Charger, I just think the fight is bland.
She's not offensively bad. She's just bad to the point of, like, we can't put her in F because she's not offensively bad. But
yeah,
still horrible.
Yeah. So I think we'll put her in E. Her in E. Okay, Broken Vessel.
It's been a while since I last fought this thing. I always fight Lost King.
Fought Broken Vessel, yeah. I like this fight personally.
I think it's a nice fight.
I also just like the lore of Lost. Broken Vessel being a sibling of the Night that was taken over by infection. I think the backstory of Broken Vessel is really cool, and I also just think the fight is pretty fun. So I'm willing to put Broken Vessel pretty high.
Again, I haven't fought Broken Vessel in a while. Closest is Lost Kin.
Right.
But I think that the Broken Vessel, because it leads towards Mothling.
Yes.
Yes.
The Mothwing Cloak, yeah.
Yep. I think it's pretty thematic for where it is.
Yep.
I also think that, hey, it jumps pretty high sometimes. That's kind of like, showing you're gonna get a Mothwing Cloak soon or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's, I like it. I don't think I'll rank it like, an S and A, but I think it's
I think it's a comfortable B.
I think it's comfortably B.
Yeah. So we can put
Makes
him
sense
in
to me.
B. Okay. Galleon.
Oh boy.
Galleon is kind of a weird dreamer. I think that the idea of the fight is cool. I don't know a whole lot about Galleon's character or lore or anything like that, because I haven't really looked into it. But I think the fight is fine. I think that it's pretty comparable to fights like Gorb and Marmu, in terms of dreamers. So I don't know.
In my opinion, Galleon is extremely easy.
Yeah, no, Galleon's not hard.
Yeah, because if you stick to one space, then the giant scythe will just like loop over and over and do figure eights, and you can just kind of sit in the middle and be safe.
And then the smaller size aren't
like inconsequential.
big of an issue. Yeah.
I do kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah,
like
a little bit.
He's not a bad fight. It's more of a time trial to see how fast you can beat him.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's sort of memorable. I forget where you find him, but yeah.
I think it's deepness. I think it's like a discrete corner of deepness. I think that he's kind of on level with Zero, so I'm willing to put him in C.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's fine.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we'll put him in C. Okay. Paymaster Shio.
Oh boy. Shio means salt in Japanese.
Yeah. I think that this fight is very enjoyable.
I like it.
I like the use of the paint that that each color indicates a different sort of attack. Like the yellow is the full arena attack, and the red is you throwing it down from above.
Is the giant.
Yeah, I think that this is a very good fight, and again, I just like the Nail Masters as well. Yeah. They're cool characters.
I would put it in A.
I would put it in A along with Oro and Matto. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think A works fine. We can go with A. Hive Night.
Kind of forgettable, gonna be honest.
Yeah, you don't even actually have to fight this guy at all. I think that...
Well, you don't have to fight like most of the
that's
bosses.
fair. I think that Hive Night is pretty decent as a fight, and I like the character's connection to the Bee Queen. I forgot her name.
The Bean.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that the fight is kind of forgettable. And also just kind of the characters kind of forgettable.
The one thing I remember
but I don't think
most,
it's bad.
Yeah, the one thing I remember the most is when he, quote-unquote, teleports away.
Right.
And then he appears right next to you, but that's super telegraphed, so you can just jump and then, nail pogo on him for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I personally think he's ridiculously easy.
Right.
His, one attack that maybe trips me up is when he slams his nail into the ground, and then a bunch of the hive bubbles with the needles in it fly out, because I don't think you can stop those at all. So it's just extra projectiles, so it's like a mini bullet hell for a little bit, but otherwise pretty easy. I don't think I want to put him in D. I think I would just put him in C. I
think that C is fine. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that he's not memorable enough to be in D.
Yeah, he's not bad or anything.
I think that C is fine.
And also the setting is cool too.
Yeah, so I think C is good. Okay, Elder Who. I personally think this is the weakest Dreamer, in terms of just how much I like it. Not also just because he's probably the weakest Dreamer out of all of them in terms of fighting.
He has 2 attacks.
Yeah, and neither of them are hard to dodge.
Yeah.
Both can just be Shadow Dash through. So
I mean, let's assume that you don't have Shadow Dash. One of them is still easy to dodge. The other one just takes timing, which is with a lot of bosses in this list.
Yeah.
So again, it's just very weak.
I think I want to put Who in D.
That's fair.
I don't think it's quite down to E.
Yeah.
But I also just don't think it's as strong as the other Dreamers we've ranked so far.
I will touch on his backstory that he tried fighting the...
Please do, because I'm not very familiar with it.
He tried fighting the Mantis Lords, and so I believe they killed him because they thought he was infected, so they didn't let him into the village.
Right.
So they killed him, and then after the battle, he's like, oh yeah, I realized they're just trying to save themselves. How foolish of me, and then he dies. But, otherwise, kind of weak. I mean, honorable. You fought against, you fought against the...
Mantis Lords.
Yeah, the Mantis Lords. but at the same time, stupid.
Yeah.
So,
I think D is fine for
D's
Elder
fine.
Who.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, Collector. This guy's
Very-
insane.
Yeah.
I kind of like the whole story behind the Collector, where he's the one who, when you realize that he's the one who's been trapping all the grubs everywhere in the jars. So I kind of like that aspect, and also I think that the fight is fine, but also really not that hard. The only thing is that I don't like the fact that he spawns primal aspids in his rematch fight in Godhome in Pantheon of Alanis.
One thing that I do really like is the fact that his theme is just a distorted version
Of the normal boss theme,
Yep.
yeah.
Not only that, but also this is technically one of the few bosses that we know for a fact
Is Void.
not only that, but also that has traveled outside of the area that he is from.
Right.
Because, you never see any, like, mosskin from out of Greenpath. But here, you know that the Collector's been everywhere because there's
grubs everywhere. Yeah. So I think Collector could be B tier.
I would say B or low A because I really like his laugh.
I'm good with
However
A.
stupid it is.
I think that Collector is a pretty good
Low
boss.
A.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm good with A.
I like you, Collector.
God Tamer.
Yeah.
I don't like this boss very much.
Me neither. It's one of
I don't know
those-
if it's quite Oblobbles bad in terms of how much I just don't like it, but I don't like it.
It's like fighting an ice climbers.
Yeah,
You
except
gotta
one
fight
of
a
them's
total
really buff and the other one's just kind of annoying.
Just kind of there.
Um,
The God Tamer herself is weak, but
yeah,
I guess.
but the beast is the main problem.
Would we call it a god? God because she's God Tamer.
I
and she
suppose
tamed
so, yeah. But I just call it the beast because that's what
That's
I've heard it called all the time.
The Tamer of the Beast.
Yeah. I don't want to rank God Tamer high because I don't like it.
Me neither. I can kind of respect, I guess, like its whole design.
And also, yeah, the fact that it's the final boss waiting for you at the end of the Coliseum of Fools.
I can't rank it C, so I think I'll have to go D.
I was gonna put it in E because I just don't like it.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the boss itself or the area it's in. I just don't like the fight.
That's fair.
It's really hard and just annoying. So.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to factor in like the
Yeah, I guess
the
it's fair.
area
We can
and
put it in D. That's
yeah,
fine.
either low D or like the highest of E.
I'll conform here. We can put it in D. Grimm.
S tier.
Grimm is yeah.
Yeah.
I think Grimm is S. I think Grimm is easy S. I think that Grimm is probably my favorite boss in the entire game.
He's one of my favorites.
And that also includes Nightmare King Grimm. Because I just think that Grimm's whole deal is just really cool. I love the idea of the Grimm Troop and the Scarlet Fire and whatnot. And I just think that his music, both for the Grimm fight and the Nightmare King Grimm fight, is just so good. So I think that Grimm is an easy S here.
Also, the fact that he's considered a higher being, A and B, means that he could be on par with the Radiance itself.
Oh yeah.
Or rather, I guess that would be the Scarlet Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds accurate.
But still, he's a follower of the Scarlet Heart.
Yeah. So I think Grimm is easy S.
Easy S, yep.
All right, here comes the trouble
The
one.
controversial one.
Watcher Knights. So the problem here is that Teal here likes the boss a lot, and I hate this boss. And that's the problem because I would want to put it probably bottom of the tier list. He would want to put it more top of the tier list. So why don't we just go ahead and explain why we have our opinions of this boss.
Okay, do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I really just don't like the difficulty here. I've always found Watcher Knights to be stupid difficult. I know that each knight individually is not that strong on its own, but the fact that you have to fight 6 of them, 5 in the normal fight if you take the chandelier route, but I can't keep up with it feels like more of an endurance match where I have to keep an eye on 2 of them, and it feels like just a more annoying and tedious Oro and Mato times 3. So I don't like this fight. I have never liked this fight. I thought it was really hard and really annoying when I first fought it. So you can go ahead and present your case.
So of course initially when I fought Watcher Knights I hated it, but I'm strictly going off the like the Pantheon here. But when fighting the Watcher Knights, I typically like to use the Mark of Pride, the Quick Slash, the Unbreakable Strength, and the Spell Twister set. So nearly in almost all physical, only replace Long Nail with Spell Twister. And that allows me to like spam spells and also deal a bunch of damage. And essentially, you always want to stick close to one of the knights and then kill it as fast as possible at the beginning of the round. And then when it dies, you wait for the second one. And also, I don't know if you typically use spells a lot.
I don't, generally. No? Okay. I go for a mostly physical build.
That could be the problem, because with Watcher Knights, they become exponentially easier if you use spells. For example, when they curl up and then they roll across the ground, if you get behind them while they're rolling and they're rolling away from you, then you can fire off like 2 or 3 Shade Souls, and each one hits like 3 or 4 times.
Right.
So it's... And also, because Descending Dark gives you invincibility, so if you have that at that time, and then they're coming up from above, then you could just do that and it does a bunch of splash damage as they fall on you.
Right.
And also, I just keep both of them, like, right on top of each other, so that I don't have to worry too much about, keeping track of what's what.
Yeah, I just can't find a good way to do that. Okay, I think I probably already know where this is going to end up being, but where would you rank this boss?
It doesn't have much of a personality nor a reason to kind of be up there, but it is fun in my opinion, with the right setup, otherwise it can be kind of hell. So I would say maybe high B, personally for me, but I know that if you have trouble with that...
Because I was thinking D or E.
Okay.
So we can put it in C tier, which is what I was thinking is where it was going to be, because that kind of puts it in the middle of where both of our opinions are on this.
Yep.
This is probably the most divisive boss between the two of us.
For me, it's just kind of like big enemies again.
Yeah.
That's it for me. But, yeah.
So yeah, we'll put it in C tier. So I think that's fine. Umu, I do not like this boss very much.
Me neither.
I think that the first fight is fine because Quirrell makes it easy enough that you just have to focus on dodging until he hits it.
Endurance match.
But you can't do that with the second fight because you have to take full control of getting rid of the shield. And it is so easy to miss the...
I hate those jellyfish.
The Omos? Is that what they're called?
The Owos?
Yeah, whatever they're called. No, we're not calling them Owos. Yeah, but I think that the first fight is fine. But if we're going based on the Pantheon fight here, I do not like it at all. So... I don't know. I don't know if I'd quite put it at F, because it never quite annoyed me as much as the other two we put down there already. But I think that it fits well in E, those ones. I don't like the fight. It
makes sense for where it is, of course, being in like the bottom part of Greenburns? I forget what.
No, it's in Fog Canyon.
Fog Canyon.
Yeah, it's right in the teacher's archives.
But it makes sense.
It's protecting Monomon.
And I think that it doesn't have a personality.
Yeah, it's just a big jellyfish.
Yeah, if anything, if you dream nail it, it says like what, no light or whatever.
Something like that, yeah. And I think most of the jellyfish in the area are talking about protecting Monomon.
Yep. So
I'm good with E tier if you are.
Yeah, E.
I think that's fine. I don't like. Yeah, it's a very low personality boss, and I also just don't like the fight in the Pantheon. So we can put it in.
In a game with like so many bosses that have like personalities to them, that one just doesn't have one.
Yeah. Okay. Nosk.
Oh boy.
I want to put this one really high because I love Nosk.
I would say high A, maybe not S, but high.
I would want to put it in S because I really like Nosk. But if you want to put A, we can go to A.
Well, because its first interaction was so creepy to me.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Nosk in Deep Nest, in its home there, is so good. The aesthetic is fantastic because Deep Nest is my least favorite area in the game, but I really think that Nosk fits the area really well. So I think that if we're partially basing it off of the area where we first encounter it, I think that Nosk is really high tier. I really like it. I also just love the setup of seeing yourself going around Deep Nest when you're entering towards its lair. I just think that freaked me out when I first saw it, because I thought the game was bugged or something.
I get it, bugged.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'm good with A or S. If we want to put
I think
there.
one of the... I want to say for the battle, he's not too difficult.
No, yeah, it's not that hard.
In his normal arena, if you just like kind of cower in the corner closest to the mid platform,
he can't
just
hit you
runs
with his
over
dash
you.
attack. Yeah.
When he jumps into the air, you can still hit him. So if you use the Howling Wraiths,
Right.
then you can still just deal a crap ton of damage, and he can't do much about it. So I think he's not hard, but I do really love his of course his his build up.
Yeah. The build up is fantastic.
I don't think he's ever referenced anywhere in the game apart from that one area.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's only referenced in Deep Nest.
Yeah. Which I think is cool. I think it's like this cool, like this mystery that no one else in Hollowness has discovered. It's just the Knight.
Well, yeah, because most people that come across Nosk, he kills them. Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, I'm good with A tier if you are.
Yeah,
I think that's fine.
Sounds good.
Okay, Winged Nosk.
Haven't fought.
This is another one you haven't fought. So I guess we'll go off what I think of it. I think that it's kind of neat how it tries to mimic Hornet. I think that that's cool how it sort of plays on that fact that the normal one tries to imitate you. Overall, though, I do think that the sort of environment isn't as foreboding and creepy, and you also don't have that build-up. So I would want to put Winged Nosk in B or C tier. I'm pushing more towards C tier just because of the lack of build-up and the fact that the area is Godhome rather than Deep Nest.
It's also just like a bigger Vengefly King, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it functions almost exactly the same as Vengefly King, except it can drop infection from the ceiling instead of summoning small Vengeflies.
So essentially, it still serves the quote-unquote same gimmick of it not actually being you or Hornet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was no build up to that point, so you have no idea.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So I'm thinking C for Winged Nosk. I think that works out. Okay. Sly.
Oh God, I hate him.
Yeah, I think that's Sly.
I think he's cool. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong.
I think that this is the opposite case of a lot of other ones where it's like the fight is not a whole lot of fun to do, but the character is very fun. I also like the reveal. This doesn't have to do with Sly's fight in particular, but I like the reveal that he's the one who trained the other three nail. Yeah, the other one who trained the other three nail masters. And I do like how in Godhome, they try to sort of recreate his little basement area as the arena. So I think that Sly's pretty cool. I also like how quick paced the battle is, even though it can get really annoying at times.
Personally, I absolutely despise his first phase. His second phase is fine. I just have to like
the second phase. Yeah, the second phase is more
but
like
his
a
first
short
one is
endurance
just
match.
trouble for me. But I really do like him. I like that he was established early on in the game as just some random NPC that you could save from infection, and then later on he's a shopkeep. And then later on, you figure out he's the Nail Sage.
Yeah.
And then later on, you fight him in Godhome.
The progression of his character.
I do also think it's pretty funny that he's this short dude who wields like a busty sword. So yeah, I think that's good. I like his personality. Don't like his fight.
I think that either B or A is fine for him.
Yeah, I think high B would work.
Yeah,
because
I think that B is fine.
Yeah, because that first phase, at least for me, is just
Yeah, so we can put him in B. Hornet Sentinel. Here we go.
My preferred Hornet.
Yeah, so we were talking about this before when we were going over Hornet Protector. But I think that the Hornet Sentinel fight is a lot more interesting because not only at that point is Hornet's character more established and you know more of why she's doing the things that she's doing, but also the fight is just more fun because it's more of a challenge than the original.
Way more fast-paced now that you have more skills and charms.
And she has some new moves as well. She can even counter you, which is pretty neat.
Great.
Yeah. That's what I wanted in my life.
Yeah. Why couldn't we get a counter charm, huh, Team Cherry?
Yeah. So I think that just putting this right above where we put Hornet Defender, so in A tier, is fine. Yeah. Because I don't think it's quite up there with the rest of the ones we put in S.
Also,
but
after that, you get the Mark of the King, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then after that, she saves you. So
yep.
I think that's good. I'd put her in it.
I think it's good. Okay, Enraged Guardian. This has the same problems as Crystal Guardian.
Yeah, it's not very.
Except it doesn't even have the cool. He's sitting on the bench and tries to trick you. So I think I'd actually. There's not much. Again, there's not much more I can say about it because it's just Crystal Guardian, but faster, and you take 2 masks. It's literally just.
It's
that.
Again, it falls under the same trap of Galleon, where it's more so just a time trial of how fast can I beat this.
It's
thing.
just so uninteresting, for lack of a better word. So I actually want to rank this lower than Crystal Guardian.
I mean, I guess
because
I do kind of
it's lacking that. As I said, it lacks that first part where it tricks you into thinking he's a normal NPC. Because at that point you already know.
No,
so.
Question: Do we count the when you first beat the Crystal Guardian, and then like the crystal explodes everywhere, and then he gets up, and he Mennonites out of there, and then he like jumps into the ceiling. Does that attribute to Crystal or Enraged Guardian?
That factor more into Crystal Guardian.
Okay, I think it is faster paced. So I personally like the faster pace and the fact that it's more claustrophobic.
Right.
It's still super easy. I guess you can't pogo on him or Crystal.
Yeah.
Personally, I would rank him higher than normal just because of the fight. Because again, for me, the aesthetic is kind of not the aesthetic, but the setting is kind of forgettable.
So what were you thinking? Like C
understand.
Or something?
No, just like higher in D.
Okay, because I wanted to put him in E.
Okay. Low D, high E.
Low D. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. Lostkin. This is the one you're more familiar with, yeah?
Yeah, this is the one that I like.
Yeah, I think that this again carries a lot of the same charm as the Broken Vessel fight. It's pretty much just that, but faster paced.
I would call it a mono fight, but no, the bastard sends out the little infection bubbles, which I hate.
So yeah, he doesn't really change much from the Broken Vessel fight, except more accelerated. He doesn't even do 2 masks.
You also need quick thinking because he barely telegraphs his attacks.
Yeah, no.
He telegraphs it for half a second.
Yeah, he telegraphs for half a second.
Slides across the screen.
Telegraphs for half a second.
It actually kind of looks like he uses nail arts too.
Maybe. I think that all the attacks are still the same from Broken Vessel, but yeah.
But
I think
it's
just
faster. And,
so I'm willing to put him in B where Broken Vessel was because it's a lot of the same.
Yeah, he's fun.
It's got the same sort of charm as the original. It's just faster. Okay, No Eyes.
Oh boy.
I think the lore picks up No Eyes a bit, but the fight is not very fun.
Yeah, the fight is boring.
I never had much fun at all with the No Eyes fight.
I don't think that the No Eyes fight is like frustrating or like extremely annoying, but it's just kind of like, oh god, get over here. Oh come on, why'd you teleport away? Fine, I'll just camp you and heal then or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like, I mean, you do get a lot of free opportunities to heal because No Eyes just doesn't attack you directly at all.
Yep.
So maybe send a little ghost projectile in your direction. But yeah, I think that the lore and backstory and, as you said, the creep factor is really good, but I think that the fight is very bland.
High D, I guess.
I think that C is fine because I think that the lore is really good for this one, so I'm good with C.
For those of you who don't know the lore, it's really dark.
Yeah, look it up if you want to.
Or don't.
Traitor Lord.
I feel so sad for this guy.
What, Traitor Lord specifically? Yeah, I guess so. So I don't remember if the backstory was that Traitor Lord betrayed the rest of the Mantis Lords before or after he got infected.
I believe after.
I think it would have been after, yeah. So, yeah, I guess that the lore behind him is pretty sad. But I also really like the connection with Cloth as well.
Doesn't he also connect with the Grey Mortar? Or am I
no, you're mixing that up with the other guy, the other bug in Queen's Gardens, the ghost one at the grave that you bring the delicate flower to.
Aha, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that this fight is fine. It's very simple. There's just the this guy only has 4 attacks, and most of them are physical and just really easy to dodge, because at that point you're very likely going to have Shade Cloak.
Right.
So you can just dash through all of that, so...
Also, with every single attack, it is counterable by Desolate Dark.
Yep. Yeah, so I think the fight is fine. Nothing super remarkable.
C, I guess?
Yeah, I'm good with C. I think C is fine.
Decent backstory. A bit of a weak fight. But
yeah, decent fight. White Defender.
White Defender. Less than Dung Defender, but still really good.
Yeah. I think that White Defender carries a lot of the same charm as Dung Defender, but doesn't have the same sort of, I guess, our surroundings. Although I do like how in the regular fight with White Defender in the actual base game, I like the fact that you can see the 5 Great Knights, I think is what they were called, in the background of his arena. So
and after you fight him all 5 times, and then you come back, it'll show the knight himself.
Yep. So yeah, I think White Defender's really good. It doesn't quite compete with Dung Defender because it's just kind of rehashing a lot of that stuff. So I'm good with A.
Yeah, A.
For White Defender. I think A is fine. Okay.
Oh
Soul Tyrant.
Soul Tyrant.
Again, like the Lost Kin and Failed Champion, which we haven't gotten to yet. Soul Tyrant doesn't change much about the original fight. Like, attacks are a little bit faster, and some of the attacks are slightly changed. Like the spinning orb one has 6 instead of 4. But yeah, not much changes. Like the second phase is also just a little bit faster, but it kind of lacks that whole, the fake out with Desolate Dive.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'd be willing to put Soul Tyrant in the same tier as Soul Warrior, which is B. Just because
Soul Warrior.
Soul Master.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Put him in F. No.
Yeah, because again, like Lostkin, it really doesn't change much from the original fight, so I don't see a reason to put it higher or lower than the original.
Sounds good.
So we'll put it in B. Okay, here we go. Hardest Dream Warrior here, Markoth. I think this was another one we were a bit split on, or have been a bit split on. Maybe, I don't know. Did you say that you hadn't found Markoth super difficult?
Originally, yes. Then I tried fighting him Radiant, and it all went out the window.
Yeah.
I barely beat him on Ascended.
Yeah, the fight gets real hard as soon as he gets rid of the floor.
Yeah, it's stupid crazy.
Yeah, but I will say, Markoth is another case of, like, I like the character, but I hate the fight.
He's also the only dreamer to quote unquote have a charm that's like connected to him.
Yeah,
Dream Shield.
Dream Shield, yeah. Yeah, I think that this fight is not bad, but stupid difficult. I have a really hard time getting past Markoth anytime I try Pantheon of Alanis. So I don't want to rank him too low because I do like his competitive spirit and also the fact that he uses Dream Shield. But I don't want to rank him too high either because I don't like the fight.
Yeah, I think I feel like the cons outweigh the pros just a little bit. Because, like, yeah, he has a good fighting spirit.
Here's the thing. I don't want to put him in the same rank as Elder Hu because his fight isn't really bland.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to put him at C with some of the other Dreamers.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's fine.
So, you're on thin ice, buddy.
Yeah, you're real close to D there, pal. All right, so we'll put him in C. Grey Prince Zote.
I hate this fight.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think it's F though, because I think there's a lot of charm behind.
There is a lot of personality with Grey Prince Zote.
I like that every time that you beat him.
Every time you beat him, there's more adjectives added. Yeah. Yeah. So I think this fight is fine.
I don't personally.
The fight is not very fun.
Yeah. I don't want to put him in C.
I don't want to put him in C either, but I also don't want to put him in F.
Yeah.
Because I don't
D,
think.
I guess.
Yeah, I think D is fine. Like, yeah,
he's not bad by any means.
He's not bad, but
it's just that the fight is annoying.
Yeah, the fight is really annoying.
Yeah, the original guy is fine though.
Yeah, Zote is fun. Yeah, but we'll put him in D. Okay, Failed Champion.
This is another one that we have conflicting topics on.
So I have always had trouble with Failed Champion because of two things. The double mask damage and the quick movement speed are what have always tripped me up with him. And so, like, I don't know. I don't really like the fight that much, but I don't know if I'd want to rank him lower than False Knight because, again, it doesn't change a whole lot of the character, and the fight is a lot the same. It's just faster, and this time he actually does 2 masks of damage.
So personally, I love the Failed Champion. I love fighting him. I've beaten him on Radiant, and I don't want to put him in like S or A because of that. Because personally, I feel like the Failed Champion basically has no personality.
Yeah.
Considering it is the Dream rematch.
Yeah.
Speedrunner versus Hunter Dream rematch. No. But I have a lot of, I guess, tips against fighting him, which is just go full physical, except again switch Long Nail with Spell Twister and use spells.
Right.
And then whenever he jumps away from you, never like go with him.
Yeah.
And always stick close to him. Always keep the damage on. And then when meteors like start to fall, essentially just like hit up.
Yeah.
With timing.
Or you can hit towards them. Yeah. I think.
But yeah, I really like the fight. I look forward to fighting him in the Pantheons. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we can put him in the same tier as False Knight. I think the B is fine.
Yeah, but probably lower.
If you were thinking more like A or B or something like that, and I was thinking more like C or D, we can just put him in B. I think that's fine. I think that works fine.
I think low B could work.
Yeah. Okay. Nightmare King Grimm. This is the same sort of case with Grimm, but I've actually really come to like this fight as much as it is a lot harder than Grimm.
You've beaten him Radiant, right?
I have beaten him Radiant, yes.
Masochist.
Yeah, okay. That's rich coming from you. So Nightmare King Grimm, I think, is a very fun fight, but I can understand why a lot of people wouldn't like fighting him because of the 2 masks and just the fact that a lot of his attacks are accelerated and quickened up. But I really like the Scarlet Heart background aesthetic. I like the boss in general, just like Grimm in general, and also the music is great. So I'm thinking high tier for this one. I would personally put it in S, but I understand if you don't want to do that.
Okay, so me and you, NKG and Grimm is the exact like flipped opposite with us with Failed Champion and False Knight.
Right.
Yeah, where it does 2 masks of damage now. Version. It's quicker, it's harder, and then I'm just like, yeah, but I like it, and then vice versa.
And then vice versa with Grimm, yeah.
One of the things I do actually like about NKG is that it is NKG itself is legitimately lore important.
Right, yes.
So, like, for example, Failed Champion...
Unlike the other Dream bosses.
White Defender is, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I think that's the only other one.
Because it's the prime version of Dung Defender as Ogrim.
Yeah, personally, I think the fight is still enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's just extremely hard.
I think we can probably agree on A here, because the fight and its difficulty can be kind of a bit rage-inducing.
Actually, he doesn't bow at the beginning of the battle. Put him in F.
Okay, yeah. Disrespect, put him in F. Yeah, I think A is fine, because I think that a lot of the things that we probably both like from Grimm are still present. It's just the fight is a lot harder and therefore not as enjoyable. So yeah, we can put him in A.
Sounds good.
Okay. Hollow Knight. I really like everything about this boss.
I think it's safe to say that we could just put him in S tier now and talk about it.
I think we'll just throw him in S right now.
The entire game, you think that you yourself,
are the Hollow Knight.
Are the Hollow Knight, but then once you get there, you realize
that you were just a vessel to contain it.
You realize, I guess I'm fighting the Hollow Knight.
Yeah, and so I think that Hollow Knight is just one of the most lore important bosses. Maybe even beating out Radiance. because I just think that the whole build up to the game is leading up to this discovery that you weren't the Hollow Knight the whole time, and it was this final boss here, quote unquote. But yeah, I also just think that the fight displays so much emotion to it, because you just have sort of like kind of what you'd expect with, like, most boss fights don't do it, but sort of what you'd expect with a lot of boss fights, where as you damage the boss more, it actually gets weaker as you go on, where by the time you get to the end of the fight, Hollow Knight can barely even stand and attack you, and by like phase 3 he starts stabbing himself with the nail.
Yep.
So I think that sort of like degrading is really powerful in terms of the character and also just like what it entails as a whole. So I think that the fight is very emblematic of just how the character relates to the story and the backstory.
Also, even if he didn't have like all of this story behind him and he was just like another boss, that setting.
Yeah, no, the setting is great.
The black
inside
egg,
the Temple of the Black Egg.
Temple of the Black Egg.
Amazing.
It's that alone would probably put him in like A. So
yeah.
also to have all this story and the fight itself actually being
easy S.
Yeah.
Okay. We already put him up there. Pure Vessel. So this one's just kind of cool. The fact that it sort of displays what the ideal of Hollow Knight was. Just a completely empty vessel.
You may not like it,
no
but this
emotions.
is what peak vessel performance looks like.
Yeah. I don't think it has quite the same power as Hollow Knight, because it doesn't have all that build up and also all the degrading in the fight.
Yeah.
And also the fight is really hard. Which makes sense, it's a near endgame boss, but yeah, I don't think, in this case, I don't think that the boss is so hard that it's annoying. Maybe annoying, but not enraging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's pretty good, but it doesn't match up to Hollow Knight, obviously.
Personally, I really like that his moveset changed, because obviously, of course, he's not just going to be stabbing himself, but
of course, yeah, and he's not going to be shooting at pillars of infection
really
because he's not infected.
It kind of almost seems like it's almost like a clone battle in like any other game. Well, obviously, it's not here, but it is because of the Void Tendrils attack, where he uses Void against you rather than vice versa.
Right.
Or the Focus attack, where he focuses Soul in order to create an AoE and like several others. So I personally think that that's really cool.
Yeah, it's almost like a reflection of yourself in that case, where he uses a lot of what you can. Mm-hmm. Except you can't counter, because,
because screw you. Team Cherry hates you, and you're never getting Silk Song.
I'm very comfortable with an A for Pure Vessel.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't think it quite matches up to Hollow Knight in terms of... Okay, Radiance.
Oh boy.
This is a fun one.
Annoying to get to, like in the base game, because if you die,
you have to
then
fight
you have to go through
Hollow Knight all over again, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but yeah, it's very easy to take a lot of damage against Hollow Knight. Yeah, I think that I really like how the phases work here, because a lot of cases, especially in this game as well, phase changes with bosses only change the boss's attack pattern and nothing else about it. But I like how the phase changes with Radiance not just change the attack pattern, but also the arena around you as you keep going up to like just the peak of the kingdom, and all leading up to the siblings rising from the abyss, and you just hitting Radiance once at the end to destroy her. I think that build-up works really well in the fight.
Yeah. Personally, I actually don't think I want to put her in S.
I don't think S either. I wasn't thinking S. I just think that the fight is very strong and deserving of a higher tier.
You hear people talk about her.
Yeah.
Specifically, like all throughout the game, and so she is the true final boss. But at the same time, it's kind of like that. There's not much other story other than, you know, the few whispers that you hear, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's no other growth for the Radiance past that point.
Yeah.
It's just those whispers. Normally in like any other game, if they're trying to lead to like a true final boss, it'll say like, you know, maybe it'll show like a cutscene, or like, for example, in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, once you leave the Petalburg Forest, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Petalburg Woods. Zinnia is like calling as a grunt, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then that's kind of like a whisper, and then it shows you a literal cutscene of, you know, someone correlated to or connected or literally just is part of like that final scene.
Right. Yeah, I'm willing to put Radiance in A because I think that the fight and all that surrounding Radiance is really strong.
Yeah.
So I'm good with A. Okay, here we go. Abzrad. This is the one boss that neither of us have beaten.
Yep.
Because Absolute Radiance is hard. Really hard. And also to even be able to fight Radiance in Godhome, you have to fight every single other boss in a row. So it's kind of hard for either of us to hold an opinion on most of the fight because you've never fought Abzrad and I've only made it ever about halfway through the fight. So I can't say much about the fight, and I mean overall Abzrad is just kind of like a redux of the Radiance fight. So
I will say it seems a lot harder. Like
100%.
To the point of like unenjoyableness.
Yeah,
almost.
I would say so. Yeah, but I will say the one thing I do really like about Abzrad is how it ties into that last ending, and how destroying it allows the Void to take over Godhome and also just Hallownest in general. But that's really the only thing I can really sing its praise about that I haven't already said about Radiance. So I don't know if I want to put it as high as Radiance because it's just...
Honestly, I'm thinking of putting it in D.
I mean,
it seems frustrating.
I don't think it's that low.
Yeah.
Maybe C tier.
Well, because it's like the hidden final boss.
Yeah, it's hidden final boss, but it's still technically part of the story, kind of.
I guess.
I don't really know how best to describe it as being like part of the story, but
B then, I guess.
Yeah, we can go with B. I think that's fine. Because I think that it's like a lot of what Radiance was, but it's just its fight is difficult to the point of being unenjoyable. Yep. Okay. We got one more at the very end.
Hooray.
The mighty Zote.
Literal piece of garbage.
There he is.
He doesn't do damage when you fight him in the Colosseum.
Yep.
The only time he ever can deal damage is contact damage in the Eternal Ordeal. And otherwise, you literally kill a single Zote in like 8 swings.
Yep. And you can just leave this guy to die if you want to.
Yep.
And that just removes Grey Prince Zote entirely.
That gives you an achievement.
Yeah. And it gives you an advantage.
You are literally rewarded for killing this guy.
Yeah.
This like false version of one of your siblings. I don't even know if I want to call him a sibling.
I don't think so. I don't know how I feel about calling him that.
Yeah, no, it's Garbo.
Very
He's
bad.
Trash. F tier.
Easy F tier.
Yep.
Put him there, just get in there.
Well, that was a pretty fun note to end on.
Yeah. Alright, cool. So that's everything. I'll throw up the tier list at the end so you can see it. But yeah, that's every boss in Hollow Knight ranked. Hopefully we get Silksong sometime ever.
No.
Probably not, though.
Yeah, probably not.
So.
Oh, and for anyone who has differing opinions from us, we're right, you're wrong.
Yep.
So, you know.
Deal with it. Figure it out. See ya.
Alright, ciao.
So for anyone who wants a visual of our rankings, here's the tier list that we put together while we were recording the video. As you can see, all of the bosses are in the exact place that we put them. Oh, and also we put this guy up here. Okay, see ya.